Good evening, and welcome to your Thursday News Update. I'm Lindsay Bartlett.
And I'm Richard Schmidt. In national news, President Barack Obama, as well as Democratic liberals and moderates, all found something to like Wednesday in a compromise to expand the role of government in the nation's healthcare system. Obama said it was, quote, a creative new framework that I believe will help pave the way for final passage of legislation and historic achievement for the American people. I support this effort, especially since it's aimed at increasing choice and competition and lowering cost, end quote. The same plan drew critics, though. North Dakota Senator Kent Conrad is reluctant to support the bill's new provision that would open Medicare to uninsured Americans between the ages of 55 and 64. He said it would hurt North Dakotans because the state was one of the lowest Medicare reimbursement rates in the nation. Conrad said yesterday, quote, I'm not going to favor something that treats North Dakota unfairly. He added that he wants to see the Congressional Budget Office analysis of the costs involved with expanding Medicare before he supports the provision.
In state news, Grand Forks police are looking for a person who robbed a local hotel at gunpoint. Authorities say a man wearing a ski mask and brandishing a gun walked into the Fairfield Inn late Wednesday afternoon and demanded money. He fled the scene on foot with an undetermined amount of cash. No one was hurt. In other news, a North Dakota pilot en route to his friend's funeral made an emergency landing in Casper, Wyoming after the plane's landing gear failed. Stuart Peterson of Fargo spent nearly an hour trying to manually lower the landing gear, but was forced to land a rented four-seat Piper Comanche on its belly Wednesday as it ran out of fuel. The 55-year-old Peterson was flying from Fargo with the parents of his late friend, Tom Noonan, to the funeral in Casper. He says no one was hurt, though his passengers were a little shaken. Peterson is an experienced pilot. He says that he has been flying for nearly 40 years. Casper Airport's public safety captain, Jim Patton, said Peterson handled the situation well. The Federal Aviation Administration is investigating what caused the malfunction.
In campus news, the Central Valley Health Unit will be administering free H1N1 vaccinations to students this Sunday outside the cafeteria at the finals breakfast. Jamestown College student nurses will be assisting in the distribution of shots. Nursing professor Mona Closey said she encourages all JC students ages 18 to 25 to take advantage of the vaccines before the Christmas break, even though the scare of the illness has seemed to die down. She said the virus moves in waves and expects another upward trend in the spring. The Central Valley Health Unit will have enough vaccinations for the entire student population. Closey also said that despite a lot of the misinformation regarding the H1N1 vaccine, it is safe and is made in the same manner as the seasonal flu vaccine. Also, as long as the person has received the seasonal flu shot injection, not the nasal spray, that person can receive the H1N1 injection at any time. In other news, you may have noticed that the campus has a new head of security. Although still very young, 24-year-old Jamestown native Brian Nagel is experienced well beyond his years and has been places few want to be. Here's Lyndon Schmidt with more on that.
Following the departure of former Jamestown College head of security Mike Luck this fall, Jamestown native Brian Nagel has assumed responsibility of campus security. Son of longtime police sergeant Thomas Nagel, Brian says law enforcement is in his blood.
I'm kind of interviewing him for the TV.
My uncle's the chief of police in Lyndon. My grandfather was a prison guard at the state penitentiary, so it's always been in my family.
But there's more to Brian than meets the eye. Shortly after graduating high school in 2004, he considered joining the Navy. One of his best friends, however, convinced him to join the Marines. After training at Camp Pendleton, California, Nagel was deployed to Iraq in the summer of 2005 as an infantryman. Nagel and his unit narrowly escaped death while watching over Route Michigan, a street in the Iraqi city of Ramadi. From this sandbag room atop a building overlooking the street, Nagel would become a hero. An unmanned drone airplane happened to be flying over the area when an attack was launched on Nagel and his fellow Marines. First, a suicide bomber drove a taxicab filled with explosives into the gate of Brian's stronghold and blew it up. Luckily for Brian, a water truck filled with liquid explosives lagged behind, giving him enough time to gather himself, shoot the driver, then the truck's tank. Separate footage of the attack from ground level was later recovered. It appears as though the terrorist organization involved was attempting to use the footage as propaganda for recruiting. Brian narrowly escaped death on another occasion.
I was injured on July 23rd of '05. That's when I was over there, and I was on the turret of a Humvee, and an explosion went off about 5 feet away from me, and a piece of shrapnel had hit me in the right side of the helmet, and it actually stuck inside my helmet, and it just barely pierced through, but it hit me with such force that I actually got nerve damage and partial brain damage.
Back in the States, Brian believes his experience in the Middle East has changed his life.
Well, it definitely made me think twice about, complaining about life.
Yeah.
It really does change a person's way of thinking. You don't really think, you think you got problems, but boy, there's a lot of other things out there that really make your stuff look small. And that's exactly what, wow. It's definitely a life changer.
He has 9 tattoos on his body to signify memories, as well as his identity.
This one means love hurts.
Mm-hmm.
My dad has a dagger through a bleeding rose, and that was one of the many reasons why I had gotten that one, and I just had put my last name in it, and then that ended up being the Bacardi bat. Tribal with a Bacardi bat, and then that was just to be a rebel, because it was the day after I turned 18. And then this one actually is a cover-up. It used to be a Ritz cracker. And then this one is 0311, which means Marine Corps Rifleman. This one, a lot of my guys in my unit had gotten this one, just to show everybody what we're really out there doing, is laying our life out for everybody. I got in memory of one of my really, really good friends. His name was Jeffrey Starr. He had died, it was his 3rd tour of Iraq. And he was actually, it was 4 days after his birthday, and he was 3 weeks before coming home, and he got shot and killed in Iraq. And this is, hence the stars, because his name was Star.
Yeah.
So I got my Ritz cracker to commemorate my crackerness, and then I got my daughter's feet.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so those are those two. It's going to be a Japanese dragon wrapping around with a koi fish from the knee down.
Nagel is now a family man.
I have an 11-month-old daughter, and her name is Madeline, and just a joy right there.
And has plans for the future.
And in 15 years from now, I really want to be a chef. Yeah. I want to go to culinary school in New York and really succeed in that. That is my true goal.
But for now, we can all rest easy because a hero is watching over us.